have is a request by me to discuss reconsideration of retention of Kaufman Law Firm and personnel investigation. I brought that up because the previous meeting, it was brought up that we retained this particular law firm. And I called for an emergency meeting, and since both of the council members of Congress, because I called at the last minute, I excuse you, and we voted, and you were both excused, because of course, I took responsibility when you stated publicly that you did not want us to hire the firm.
Only after I was shot down about mediation, I had brought up even Pastor Flores and Pastor Jackson, because I felt maybe it would be better not to bring in Father Mike, who Pacheco and I attend the church. I thought, let's just leave the church out of it, and let's bring Pastor Flores. I know that Pastor Flores helped you and Marlene, Mayor.
Yes,
I know it. Everybody's,
and the reason why,
a great thing.
So we could agree upon that versus spending $20,000 to $25,000 on having a law firm come in there and interview both you and Baca Ricardo Pacheco. There is really they have no authorization, no power whatsoever, other than say, he said, she said. So that's the reason why I don't want that. And there's no prosecutorial, like I said, no prosecutorial power that's going to be based upon this particular two investigations. So my suggestion at this point would be that we utilize Pastor Flores. He's very neutral. And again, yes, both Councilmember Marlene Garcia and I had a major conflict, and he volunteered to mediate, and that's what we did, and we're still friends to this day. So I hope we can do that.
But Mayor, in all due respect, I don't think it's your decision.
No.
I appreciate your input, but it is not your decision. The allegations against me are very serious.
I understand.
And I really do believe that we need, I gave a chance for the mediation, and I was shot down.
But who shot you down? I don't understand.
Councilmember Pacheco said no, that he did not want to have the mediation.
Mayor, I need to.
Hold on, allow her to finish.
I am now after Ms. Cruz Baca.
Allow her to finish.
So I want to move forward with the investigation. I think that this has gone on far too long. This is very serious, and we need to clear it up.
An investigation with an attorney?
With an attorney.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. And you know what? I'm going to oppose that we spend $20,000 to $25,000 for a law firm to come in and interview both you and Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco. I know that both of you took action. There was a report taken by the police department. So again, at the end of the day, there's no prosecutorial powers by this particular law firm, whichever it may be, that you would choose. We're talking about taxpayers' money. That's a good example. So I just want to make sure that I think that you should reconsider, and let's look at another neutral group, whether it be a group of individuals that you could suggest.
Mayor, I'm sorry, that was given a chance, and I don't think it's up to you.
I'm going to vote, so it's going to be up to me.
Okay,
but I want for the record to show that I feel that I'm not being protected. I'm not being protected at all. I wrote a letter in March. And everything was swept under the carpet. Then I finally, after it persisted up here on the dais, and everybody heard, there's videos that show the type of language he was using and the insults. And I'm sorry, Mayor, even you have brought up personal things about my family and my life. This has nothing to do with the agendas. I had asked on many occasions for this to stop and for us to not disrespect each other anymore. I was not listened to. It got to the point where Councilmember or Vice Mayor Rubio was even being attacked as well. I really do believe that this needs to investigate. You did not want the Roberts rules. We were shot down, so we couldn't even have order up here because of that. So, Monica, you can go ahead and laugh because it hasn't happened to you, but I find these allegations very serious. Mayor Lozano, this is not something that you fool around with. I am sorry, but
may I make a statement, Mayor? Please allow me.
Let me not finish.
I haven't finished.
You have that.
I'm sorry.
So please, may I make a statement, Mayor?
Go ahead, because I have the floor.
That's not true.
Mayor.
No, Mayor, you know that I asked for the floor.
Wait, hold on.
See, this is a kind of floor.
Okay, so.
Hold on, but just allow. No, but just allow. Go ahead, Mayor.
And this is why we should have adopted the Roberts Rules of Order, and Councilmember and I chose to adopt some rules so we can have decorum up here, and it was shut down. Let me just make 3 points. Number one, you called an emergency meeting knowing that I was out of town, and Councilmember Baca was out of town, and I think we've never, at least in the history, I've been on the dais 10 years, I've never seen a meeting take place when all 5 council members could not be there. So I think, number 1, that's inappropriate to call an emergency meeting. Number 2, an emergency implies an emergency. An emergency is not trying to reconsider something that was voted on 5-0. That's not an emergency. So that meeting was inappropriate to begin with. And last, if any employee of this organization or any organization would put a complaint in, we wouldn't think twice of taking care of that employee because there's serious allegations. Every human being deserves to be protected, including elected officials. So I don't know why there's so much opposition. If Councilmember Baca feels she's being attacked or vice versa, why would we even fight this? Any employee that put in a complaint would be heard, would be investigated, and would be taken seriously. Why would a council member that's elected not have the same respect that an employee would have? So number 1, I oppose you having meetings without the majority of the council. That is not appropriate, and it wasn't an emergency. From what I understand, you only have emergency meetings when it impacts finances or something that we need to vote on, or we may lose like a grant or something. This is something that was voted on. 5-0. Why would you guys change your mind and have a meeting without us? So again, Mayor, why this discussion shouldn't continue. If a member of this dais feels they're being attacked and needs protection, we shouldn't even think about it twice. If a sister came to you and said she was being attacked, I don't think you would be thinking about it twice. So I say we give her the same respect that any employee has, and that is let's figure out what's going on and move forward. Thank you, Mayor.
Hold on, Councilman Ricardo Pacheco, and then I'll go after him. Go ahead.
I believe that
Your mic's off, your mic's off, your mic's off.
these allegations are false and politically motivated by Cruz Baca. She started with this letter that I'm going to read so the public knows where this is going to. And it says, she writes this letter to the chief. I know you are aware that there has been much tension at council meetings, but starting in about October 2015, it has gotten worse. Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco's behavior has me concerned, not only towards me, but towards fellow council members, staff, and residents. His aggressions, verbal outbursts, name-calling, and disrespect is escalating. Everything he's bullying, interrupting, and having outbursts. On February 17, after closed session, I was questioning some of the decisions pertaining to reorganization of the community development after Mark Kessler was let go. He yelled at me and said, this is how I want things done, slamming his fist on the table and continue to talk over me. On our way, I asked him to please show some respect because I did not disrespect him. He shouted that I would do anything I wanted to, shut up, and call me a corrupt, dirty politician. He shoved me out the way and exited through the door. I know he had anger management problems in the past. I would be very much like for the matter to be looked into. I believe he has attended this ethics seminar and protocol, especially after being an elected official for more than 18 years now. We can ask the council members here. I mean, and any of them, well, you say there's witnesses to what you're saying. Okay, no council members here have complained. No staff has complained. So your first statement is already not true. You know, everything that you're saying was said up here in the diocese. Everybody the whole public would know that if I'm harassing you or verbally from here from the diocese, I mean, I can't even reach you. You're way on the other side. But let me read my response. The chief gave me a letter that you wrote, that's Cruz, in March 1st, 2016. You stated that there has been tension since this past November election. The only tension that may exist was created by you, when you made false claims against Mayor Lozano in order to try to get elected mayor. You lost the election, and now you're making false political allegations again against me. You seem to say that I've been aggressive, made verbal outbursts, and participated in name-calling and disrespecting other council members and staff. That is completely false. I've never done any of those things to fellow council members or staff or anyone else. It is unfair for you to make those false statements. If you really believe those things to be true, which they are not, you should identify the staff members you claim I have done these things to, so that the staff person can speak for themselves, and we can resolve these issues once and for all. You must name the staff members and when that allegedly said to them. There is no such staff member. I find it odd that no staff member has made any of these complaints, and that you are the only one making the complaint supposedly on behalf of staff members. Either you need to name the phantom staff members so that they can speak for themselves, or you need to stop spreading the lies against me for your political benefit. The same is true for fellow council members. Who is that you claim I have done this to? Mayor Lozano, Monica Garcia, Susan Rubio? You need to name the council member and identify when I did this alleged act. Now, what was the alleged done so that this can be settled once and for all? Making these false and vague accusations is nothing more than underhanded, dirty politics and attacks against me. This is wrong. It has been obvious in recent council meetings that you are upset that you lost the majority and you can no longer dictate policy, and you are now focusing on your anger towards me in order to retaliate against me by making false and self-serving allegations. Regarding the statements attributed to me in your letter and supposedly said in closed session, they are completely false. I have never made those statements to you that are in your letter. I never shoved you and I never yelled at you. We do disagree politically, and that is not inappropriate. For me to voice my strong opinions in closed session when I strongly disagree with you. It appears as though this entire letter is a self-serving document by you designed to set false record of what really happened. I know you are a close friend of Greg Tuttle, who has worked on your campaigns for years and supported you strongly over the years. I recently filed a TRO against Mr. Tuttle. It seems that the timing of this letter is odd in that it comes right after I got the TRO against your friend Greg Tuttle. So since I got a TRO against your friend, you are now making these false allegations of alleged harassment against me to get back at me for filing a TRO against your friend. The whole thing smells of dirty politics, and I think this must stop. Either you need to make specific and verifiable statements about who these acts are allegedly done to, or you should just stop making these false allegations. So if you'd like to meet with me and discuss this, I'm always open. You're making these allegations, and these allegations you're saying are here in public. And there's nothing illegal here in public. You're the one that comes in and organizes and orchestrates with your constituents out here and put these signs and banners all over the city. You went to my church and put a banner like that, and that's harassment. That's what I'm filing against you, because you harassed me with all of your lies that you bring up here against me that you're behind with Mr. Tuttle. You know, I have a document here that is, in his words, the deposition of Greg Tuttle, that he meets with you regularly, and that he tells you what to do. And I didn't say it, I'm not making this up. This is in this document. He directs you, and you guys orchestrate and plan your campaigns together and bring people out here that, by the way, I'm noticing there's less and less of you out here. You know, you're the one that commits fraud with your family. And I didn't bring it up. I mean, your family's the one that accuses you of the kind of person that you are. And so that goes in line with the false allegations you have against me. You know, I think, I supported you one time. I mean, I won't support you again. I think you need to work together with council members, stop making false allegations, and let's talk about city business. Let's get things done. Let's move the city forward. But you guys, you want to filibuster everything, you want to stop things, you want to hold things off, because you probably don't read the agenda by the time you get here. And I think you need to learn to take your time, read your agenda, understand what you're going to vote for, and then vote. Cruz Baca. So I think, well, I'm not done yet. All right? So I think that we need to just stop. You want to waste taxpayers' money on these on lawyers that I don't know what they're going to investigate, because nothing that you allege is illegal. I don't harass you. I don't. If I want to call you a politician, you understand. That's freedom of speech, right? I mean, that's what your constituents talk about. I have a freedom of speech. I'm a council member. If I decide that, in my opinion, that I think you're a dirty politician, I'm allowed to say that, just like you are to say it about me. I mean, we all have that freedom of speech up here on the diocese to either work together or not work together or give our public opinions. I mean, that's what we're all here about, to discuss and disagree and move our policies forward. So, I just find it offensive that you want to play this out in the papers and play this out with the constituents. I just think it makes you lose a lot of credibility. I mean, none of these accusations are false. I had your constituent, Mr. Toto, come here and have to stand alleged, and Councilwoman Councilwoman Rubio, you guys almost allude that there's some sort of sexual harassment. That's false. That's true. None of that is true. So, I think you need to really just, work. We could talk about it, or we can move forward, but I just think that this needs to stop. The money we're going to spend is something like $40,000, because it's $20,000 for you and $20,000 for me. And I prefer we not even do it. These are not true. I know you want to sit there and say, oh, Ricardo Pacheco, How do I get close to you? Because I'm on this side of the diocese. I don't go to your side and push and bump you because everybody would see it, especially your constituents. So you know that's not true. I don't bump you, I don't hit you. I don't even talk to you unless it's here in the city hall. And that's about it. So when you make these allegations, they're not true. They're false. You should stop lying about these things and just tell the truth. Thank you, Mayor.
Cruz,
No,
there's
hold on,
a
it's my turn, it's my turn. It's my turn, so allow me to finish, and first of all, this is the last meeting, I don't know. So, I mean, I don't want to see, I mean, it's important, yes, it is important what you're saying, and we are elected officials and there's employees. Now, can we utilize the HR department? Or I think it was referred to them, am I correct? And nothing transpired?
Well, not my complaint. Councilmember Pacheco's complaint went to HR. I went directly to the police department.
Okay, well, can we refer to the Human Resources Department here? Or, if not, let's go to the District Attorney's Office then.
Mayor, can I?
Yes.
Cruz, allow me please, Cruz, you know, because I need to respond to what Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco said. Just like I don't believe that family matters should be brought up in the dais, and I did state that to you several meetings back, Mayor, and I asked you not to bring up her family because it was a personal issue. I also don't believe that our personal fights should be out on the dais, and that's why I have chosen to stay quiet. However, I must speak up only because he is calling Councilmember Baca a liar, and I really, normally that's not what I do. Like I said, I feel that what we as council members deal with internally should stay internally, just like a family matter. But I am that other council member who constantly was yelled at. And the mayor, our CEO, and Robert Tafoya, our legal counsel, were there a few meetings back when Ricardo Pacheco went around the table and started yelling at me. I had Cruz Baca, the mayor, the CEO, and our legal counsel asking Ricardo Pacheco to stop yelling, and he had never gone around that table to the other side. If the mayor can speak to that, legal counsel and CEO, I was not alone. And again, I never expressed it publicly, but you can't sit here and call her a liar. I just, at this point, I'm being asked to speak up, and I'm going to have to. I've also asked the mayor to ask him not to yell in my ear, because exactly what he's doing right now, like sometimes when I'm trying to listen to the audience and I'm trying to listen to comments, he was making comments on my ear and the microphone is off and the audience cannot hear it, and I'm having a really hard time hearing the council, the discussion, and I've also asked the mayor privately to ask him not to do that because that's inappropriate when I'm trying to gather my thoughts and make a point, and there was, you know, conversations happening in my ear. So I'm sorry, Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco, I've never expressed it publicly, but I have to. And Mayor, again, CEO and legal counsel were all there. This is not just me by myself. And yes, when they did ask me from the police department after Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco made the complaint to describe that incident, I described it fully, truthfully, and I shared the same exact thing, so I'm not coming up with the story now. This was several weeks back. So I agree with you, Mayor, but it starts with us. We need to make sure that right now you are the leader of this dais. I think you should let the investigation move forward because, you know, if I were you or anybody else, I wouldn't want to be accused of one way or the other. This is something we should just take off our hands and really just put it in the hands of the professionals. Clearly, we're not capable as elected officials to mitigate this. It's time to turn it over to someone independently to help us figure this out. And as a leader right now, I'm asking you, Mayor, to just take control of the meeting and let's stick to the issues. I'm sure our residents and anyone listening at home is finding this just to be a little too much as I am right now. Mayor, I'm asking, let's just move forward, put it in the hands of the professionals. Let's not give any indication that it may be a bias investigation. Let's just get rid of it, let someone do it independently, and let's just move forward. Thank you, Mayor.
Well,
Mayor, I haven't spoken.
Hold on, Councilmember Monica Garcia, and then we'll give it to you.
But I was waiting, I gave Susan the...
No, but allow her, because you had already spoken, so we'll get to you real quick. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to say that, you know, there are people here on this dais that love to play the victim. They love to play the victim. And I see people nodding their heads because, you know, you're not fooling everybody that is here or listening. You may believe that you're fooling them, but you're not. And what we know that you work with people in this audience to come and attack us week after week. And people will ask me, how do you do it? How do you stand, you know, all those attacks that happen every council meeting? And we know that you're behind them. So when you ask the mayor to, you know, bring leadership and stability, look in the mirror. And you need to also talk to the people that you work with, and you also need to, you know, follow that same rationale, that same motto. You know, you guys are definitely part of this negativity. And in fact, when you had the majority, Greg Tuttle, who you work very closely with, came up to this dais or to this microphone and said that the negativity was going to stop. Why? Because you guys have been in control of it. And people see it. People in this community know it. They come up to me and they say, how do you do it? We know what's going on. But you know, you think that you're fooling people. You're not. So I say, if you really want peace on this council, then we all are responsible. And I've said that before. So when I remember that closed session meeting where we took up the item, I clearly remember Ricardo Pacheco saying, okay, Cruz, then let's mediate. And Cruz Baca said no. So, okay, that was very clear. Then we took a 5-0 vote to have this investigated. Then we come out to open session, and it was a completely different story. You know, you have the person that, you know, claims to be the victim, and, you know, she was here saying, no, that wasn't what I wanted. Well, now we have the opportunity, like the mayor said, let's start today, every one of us. You know, let's agree that we're going to have this mediated. Why do we want to spend $40,000 or more on this? You guys earlier were just talking about giving money away, which we're not even doing on another project. There is no money necessarily. But now here, it's convenient for you to give away the $40,000 because it serves your purpose. You know, let's have this mediated, and if we feel like this is not being addressed in the way that we want it, then we can escalate it, and then we can have the investigation and spend the money. But why don't we do this in good faith? Why is that so difficult? And, you know, I've heard Ricardo Pacheco, it would be nice for you to say yes, and why don't we all participate in this? Because, like I said, you know, too many people sit up here and they love to play the victim. Let's all take responsibility. Let's all own it. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, no, I have to address
Hold on,
that.
it's Councilmember Cruz Baca, go ahead.
You know, if I turn.
Oh, go ahead.
You keep saying, see, this is a problem. You keep making allegations that are absolutely false. I've stated that I've been on the dais 10 years, 4 years as an elected city clerk. I never said a word because I sat there quietly typing. The fight that you guys have had with Mr. Tuttle goes back 10, 12 years. That did not come or start when we got on the dais. It's on record. It's been going on for 10 years. Your fight, I'm talking about the mayor and Monica, before I was on the council. So for you to sit here and say that I work with him, let me clarify. I've clarified at every single council meeting. He's not my employee. I don't work with him. I don't speak to him on a regular basis. He's not a friend. He may be a supporter only because I don't see coming 10 years is whatever you guys have going. Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco has called him a stooge and names. And if you engage people in that manner, that's what's going to happen. I choose not to. And I've asked Mayor for you to say, from this moment on, to stop making those allegations. You know, you don't have to know, Monica, but Mayor, you know, that's not my doing. And so I'm just saying, here we are, instead of moving forward the 5-0 vote that we took last meeting, which would have not brought all this about, we would have been done. And then that meeting happens and we're here and we recycle the whole conversation. That vote was taken 5-0, regardless of who, what, where, it was taken 5-0. Let's just move forward. You keep saying you don't want to spend $20,000, but yet $500,000 on the park that we spend is not a big deal. To me, listen, this is a personnel issue. I've been in risk management. It is a personnel issue. Just because we're elected doesn't mean we don't deserve the same respect. And we need to look into it, legal counsel. How can an elected official be harassed, perhaps hit, and because we're elected, there's no recourse? There has to be. And if someone asks for an investigation because they feel they're being harassed, as Councilmember Ricardo did and Councilmember Cruz Baca did, just like any employee, we need to respect that. End of story. We need to respect that. There was a 5 vote, you know, and let's just move forward with it. There's no need to keep going around in circles. Probably half hour of this discussion should not have happened because that vote was already taken. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
First of all, when yourself, Councilmember Pacheco, and Councilmember Garcia decided to take out a TRO against Mr. Tuttle that was dismissed by the court, that cost $52,000. You didn't even give it a second thought that he was sitting in the corner of a room and you accused him of harassing and stalking you, including you, Monica, of stalking you at a particular venue. If that would have been the case, I'm sure that the judge, unless you really believe that we've got a connection with the judge as well, because those charges were dismissed, and according to Jimmy Gutierrez's bill, it was $52,000 from the invoices that I got a copy of. So it's okay to assume that somebody's stalking you or that somebody is harassing you. It's all right to assume and spend $52,000, but when there's video and there's proof, Councilmember Pacheco attacked Marlene Garcia brutally up here and even called her names, and that was okay. He did the same thing to the former Chief Hatzel. He did the same thing to Chief Hatzel.
Mayor, she can't be making false statements like that. I'm sorry. That's false.
That's true. Pacheco, stop. All right, go ahead.
There is video. I'm not making this up. There is video.
I was here and I was talking to the media, and then you came in and you started yelling at all these people. You went ballistic. You walked in here. You were incoherent. You were yelling at everybody. And I've got like 50 people that will come here and testify to the fact that you were yelling at people. I couldn't believe you. You were acting like a child, Councilwoman. I could not believe way you were acting.
Please.
Oh, Mayor, hold on. I'm talking. Okay, so you were acting like a child in front of 50 people, yelling and screaming at them to get out, get out. Yes, you did, Councilman Garcia. It's on video. It went viral on the internet. So
3 hits.
You did. You did that. I mean, I know it's funny. It's hilarious. See, Monica's laughing because it was hilarious to see Marlene Garcia making an ass of herself in front of 50
Ricardo,
people.
do not use.
I
no,
can use the word ass.
apologize.
I'm not going to apologize. You apologize to me.
Profanity is not used here.
You use
Mr.
that
Councilman
word.
Pacheco.
The word ass is not profanity.
Okay, do not use that here again.
I just said the word ass. It's not profanity. I think she's an ass. I'll call her one. Okay, Mayor. I'll censor you, Councilwoman Garcia. I have the right to say what I feel like.
Violating parliament procedures. You need to follow.
Mayor, I want to tell you what. You do too, man. You do too. Okay, and I want to bring to the next council meeting council decorum. You guys want, matter of fact, that's the next item that I'm going to vote no on because the people don't need a decorum to follow. You 3 do.
Okay, all right. So this one, let's go ahead and go to 5. Then.
All right. So I said, yeah.
There is video of the names he has called me, and Mayor, I'm sorry, but a few weeks ago, when I brought up about Captain Salcedo coming to the meeting, your outburst was, how about your family? You are being sued for being an embezzler, and you're also being sued for fraud and forgery and whatever else you threw out there. So you did attack me personally. You did. And you do have an audience with my brother and my sister and my sister-in-law sitting out there. The only reason that they're sitting there is because you have told them that it's okay to go against code enforcement. So,
Hold on. No, please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt.
so wait a minute, I'm not done, Mayor. So for whatever reason, that's fine. I can handle that. But Councilmember Pacheco's allegations, and I will bring you a copy of the HR complaint that he made. I will bring it to you the next council meeting. Those are serious allegations that he made against me. And that's not something that you just throw under the carpet. I'm sure that if Councilmember Rubio or Councilmember Garcia would have, you sat up here when you made allegations about, and I hate to bring it up, about what's happening in Vice Mayor's personal life at the time that she was getting divorced. You said that up here that you would defend anybody, that anything would happen or that anybody would do. Why aren't you defending me? You've heard the way, you have heard how Ricardo treats me. You've heard it. It's on video. Everyone has heard it. Even people from Philadelphia are calling to tell me that they've seen the videos.
Let me first of all, so we clarify what you stated. You outright lied about Mr. Salcedo. I interviewed several of the students that were there. He never told you. Hold on, allow me to finish. I know you have a candidate, I'm not even going to expose that candidate that you're wanting for chief. But what you did, you outright lied. You outright lied. I told him, how can you do that? And stay there, you know, steadfast, like nothing's happening, and I didn't buy that. I know the people that were around there, older people that were, when he met with him, I'm a candidate, but you came and said that was my candidate. When I know you're pushing for a candidate, I never once exposed the candidate you're vying for, but you're trying to destroy a legitimate person who has impeccable credentials. And I just want to end it there, because you know what?
Mayor,
we're going to be here
I
at
just
1
want-
o'clock. And
I just want to say one thing. There were a lot of students. There's no way you could have gone to every student that he spoke to. There is no way, because I'm going to tell you something. The students that he spoke to don't even live in Baldwin Park.
You know what's funny? You know what? The truth will set you free someday.
They don't
Let me
live
remind you about that. But I'll tell you, let me just say one thing. Let me just say, I know your family, but for you to say that I'm bringing them here, or I'm telling them to come here, it's untrue.
Well,
I just happen to be attached to your family because I've been here many years. You've been here, and I've always praised your family that goes way back to the 1800s. Okay, and it's amazing that we're literally here, 10:35, and this is we're not taking care of the residents' business. Now, I'll be honest with you, I am not going to vote to spend $20,000 and $20,000 to have a formal letter right here that's available to the public that has no prosecutorial powers whatsoever. It is basically going to give you your side, and it's going to give his side. So what I will ask, and I'm going to make a motion, that this be taken to the HR department, legal counsel, I want you involved in there, okay, to see how we could resolve this without spending megabucks. Because I'll tell you right now, I am not going to support that. Now, I respect you as an individual, as I do Councilman Ricardo Pacheco, and from this point on, I want to see if we could move forward, like realistically move forward.
I'm going to repeat. You spent $52,000 on something that was frivolous, that was dismissed in court. In court. Dismissed in court by a judge. Okay? You had people, witnesses that came forward to say that the allegations were not true, but yet you won't do this to protect me, and I want for the record, whether whoever investigates this, that if anything should happen, I came forward and asked you to please help me and to take care of this and to protect me. And I feel that you are not doing that. As the mayor of the city of Baldwin Park, it is your duty to take care of whatever happens on the dais. You didn't do it with Marlene. I'm telling you right now, she got beat up badly.
Let me test that, and you know what? Mark, hold on, let me finish this.
She's saying that I physically abused somebody, and that is a false
hold on.
That is false. I did not physically.
Chief, I want to take a statement what she's saying here today. We are elected officials, we're not employees of the city of Baldwin Park. So I want to make certain that she is well taken care of. And again, we're going to have some neutral person that could hash this out. What are the residents going to say that we're going to spend $40,000 to just find out what you said and what he said? There's not, I mean, he's not going to be prosecuted, nor you're not going to be prosecuted either. That's what I'm saying. So what I want to do as adults, we need to look at this in a serious manner and resolve it between both of you and having a neutral party. Let's see if HR is able to do that, or our legal counsel somehow. I'm not going to spend $40,000. I'll tell you right now, it is not. I am concerned about your safety, as I am concerned for his safety as well. So that's, I just want to make that very clear for the record so that everyone knows. What I'm talking about here, I'm not going to have a law firm give us a paper, $20,000 paper, for both of you, $40,000, and just giving us a little report.
So it's okay for you to have spent $52,000, but I'm asking you to protect me and to get this resolved. You won't spend the money to...
I am protecting you by going to this mediation.
Well, I
This
am
mediation will again have no, then you know what? Let's take it to the district attorney's office. You know what? Let me make a motion. I'll make a motion. Let's forward this to the district attorney's office. That's my motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any objections? Okay. Then we're going to forward it to the district attorney's office. Again, you know what? There's no... Well, okay. Just send it to the district attorney's office, legal counsel. Those are the instructions. Okay. So at this point, do we move on to the next, or can we skip it and bring it back?
This is very important.
Okay. That's fine. Councilmember Cruz Baca.
Food Act, and the reason that I brought that up was because I got a lot of calls over Thanksgiving.
I'm sorry, Council, can you repeat the request, if you don't mind? Thank